Hey, it's Jag, and today I'm going to finish the acrylic templates. Your turn. What?
Yeah.
Well, today I'm going to finish the acrylic templates, the working templates, and get all of the marks, the lines and marks scribed on them, so I'm ready to get back to working on the actual guitar bodies and necks. Here is my master neck template. I've got some packing tape on there already. I've checked it with the acrylic neck blank, and everything's looking good in there. I may put another layer of packing tape around here just to tighten that up a little bit more before I actually make the acrylic template from this. I have checked my center line is exactly in the center and square to where the neck pocket is. This is 6 inches wide, and I made it about 10 inches long. If you notice, I have these little angles up here. Now that I have this finalized and it's the way I want it, I'm just going to trim it down, and I'm going to trim it so that the depth here will be about 3 1/8 inches in. My neck is going to sit about somewhere between 3 and 2 3/4 inches into the body. As I've said before, I'm going to offset the neck a little bit more out toward the end of the body to get a little bit better access up at the top of the neck. So first order of business is just to trim this excess off. Well, and easy as that. I have this trimmed to length now. I'm just going to check the fit of the template in here and decide whether I want to put some more packing tape around here or not. And then I'll get on to cutting the blanks for the acrylic working templates. The neck template and the neck pocket template are really fitting together really well. I'm not seeing any gaps. I have just a little bit of wiggle room up at the top. I think I'm going to put some more packing tape in here and see if that's too tight or not. I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera, but there's the acrylic template set into the master neck pocket template, and I'm not seeing any real gaps there or things that are bothering me. You can see that with the neck template in the neck pocket template, I can pull it up and get about 1/4 inch space down here between the end of the neck and the neck pocket template. So that to me says that there is enough space in here that another layer of packing tape will probably tighten this up just about exactly right. All right, well, I have the packing tape in around the edges of the neck pocket master template. I did put 2 layers of tape in, and it's the neck blank template is fitting very, very well. I'm not seeing any gaps. It's fitting snug in there now with very, very minor amount of wiggle room. It is not super tight. If I pick up the neck blank, the neck pocket blank will start to slide off the end, but won't fall right off. So I think we're really good here. Another thing that I did when I put the packing tape on the master template, of course I put it in on the insides and then folded the excess over onto the top and bottom of the blank. Now, packing tape is not that thick. Even 2 layers of it is not that thick. But I don't want to risk inducing any inaccuracies into my final template. So what I did on the bottom of this master template, I first of all trimmed that folded over packing tape and made sure it was very flat. And then I put 3 strips in double layers of the packing tape to make sure that the bottom of this is going to stay perfectly level, not, till no matter how minor the amount is. And I made sure to burnish it down, put holes in any bubbles so that those would go flat. And this is, I'm really confident with this master template now to make the acrylic. This master template is 6 inches wide by 9 inches long. I have a piece of acrylic here. It's not quite 9 inches long here. So what I'm going to do is take the length of the acrylic master down to 8.5 inches. So it will be a little bit shorter than this master template. I really don't think that's a problem. I think I've got a lot more length here than I need. The width will still be 6 inches. That will let me take 2 neck templates off of here, and it'll still leave me about half of this piece, which probably will get, if not all, most of my pickup templates once I get around to doing them. To be sure that I get these the exact right width, I put the master template in there and then sort of jigged up a stop block. I didn't have enough room on the end for it, so I jigged it up so that when the template was in there, this block was lined up perfectly to the side of the master. And then I put a stop block on here to stop this block. Getting a little confusing, I know. And then I can just run this piece of plexiglass up to here, and I know I'll get exactly the same width as the master template, so I can make my 2 blanks for my neck routing template. So I've got 2 blanks cut for the neck pocket template. I put my spare acrylic blank for the neck pocket template and neck away. I was going to make them right away, but if I have to make adjustments to these templates, I'd rather not have to waste 2 sets. So I'm just going to keep those blanks aside. So all my spare stuff is put aside, and I've got just what I'm going to be working with. I also don't know what I was thinking when I said that this is going to be shorter, and so I was going to cut it down to 8.5 inches. It's about 8 3/4 inches right now. There's no need to cut it shorter. I mean, if it ends up being too long, I can cut it shorter, but this one's 9, the master template. So all I did was cut those 2 blanks to the width of the master template, and they match up exact. I'm going to line this up, double side tape it down, and then we'll cut and route this this template. Okay, that's looking like it's lined up pretty well. Just going to break out the bandsaw and rough out the waste from the pocket. And we'll get it on the router table, and we should have this template done. Well, no one's likely ever to hear me complain about the heat in the summer here, but it is hot, so change of clothes. I was just sweltering. It's about only about 27 or 28 degrees out there. A few degrees hotter than that here in the shop. Really feeling the heat today, but having a blast. That little bandsaw, I am very happy with that since I did the little bit of tune-up and adjusting on it and put the bigger blade on. The urethane tires, I think I said silicone tires before. I meant urethane. The urethane tires did come the other day, but I haven't had time to put them on yet. Even at that, though, this cut went really well. The rough cut, I was able to get really close to my lines, and it really made the routing go a lot easier. So now it's time to take the master template off and see how the acrylic template turned out, as that's the one I'm going to be working with. We're we really want to see how that worked. So I'm just going to try a fit before I take the paper off. It is snug. Oh, look at that. That lined up really, really well. I'm really happy with that. We'll take the paper off. Since I have a center line already marked on this neck pocket template, I'm going to scribe that line through to the plexiglass. I did my center finding gauge a few days ago, and in that video I said every day starts with me making some kind of tool or doing something to make the day go easier. Today I came out and I made a scribe. I had one somewhere, but I can't find it. So I just took a piece of dowel from an old rocking chair, drilled a hole roughly in the center, took another nail, put it in there and sharpen the point, and now I have a scribe. A pencil's not going to mark very well on acrylic, so having a good scribe is very handy for doing these marks. So hopefully that went through. We'll see how that turned out. Again, acrylic just is really so cool to work on, and this looks so good. So there we go. We have a neck pocket template all ready to go. I just need to do the scribe the line around and then down the other side. Now that we got the paper off, we can get the best look at how this is lining up in there. Oh, yeah. Wow. This could not have fit any better. That has worked out perfectly. Zero gaps, like zero. I can't believe how well that turned out. So now what we need to do is mark the lines. And I do need to carry that center line around on this neck template. So I'm going to do that first. That's pretty much the only mark I need to put on here. So I'm just going to go off camera and do that, and then I'll get set up for doing all of the marks that I need to do on the neck template. All right, so I've got the neck from the beast again. The things I need to know, marking the center line, I don't need this neck to do that with, but there are some measurements that I do want, and they're going to be easiest to get off this neck and then scribe them on the blank. So what I want to know is exactly where the end of the neck heel, excluding the fingerboard overhang, where the end of that heel is in relation to the nut line. So in other words, the distance from the nut line to the end of the neck heel, excluding this overhang. So to here. Because the 22nd fret will actually be on that overhang, I'm not going to take that measurement, but I want to know where the center of the 21st fret is. So I'm going to mark the nut line exactly the same distance from the end of my heel as it is on the neck for the beast. And I'm also going to mark where the center of the 21st fret is. In addition, I'm going to mark the center of the 12th fret, and then we'll do the center line. The first measurement I want is the measurement from the nut line to the end of the actual heel. So I'm going to measure it to the end of the fingerboard, including the overhang. Then I will measure how much overhang we have and do the subtraction, do the math. And I'm going to use that measurement to then measure up from the end of my template heel to where the nut line should be up at the top. To the end of the overhang is 18 3/4. To the center of the 21st fret is, I'm going to do it in millimeters, is probably going to be more accurate. To the middle of the 21st fret is just a little over 455 millimeters. I'm not going to use this to put that fret in. I just want it kind of as a reference point. So taking that at 455 and about a half is going to work well enough for my purpose of just having a reference mark. And since we're doing millimeters, I'll reread the end of the neck in millimeters as well. Looks like 476 millimeters. Using a converter to convert 18 and 3/4 inches to millimeters gives me 476 and a quarter millimeters. So that's the measurement I'll use, 476, to the end of the overhang from the nut line. To the 21st fret, we have 455 and a half millimeters. And to the middle of the 12th fret, I should be expecting about 12 and 3/4-ish inches, or in Canada we officially switched to metric quite a few years ago, but just about all of us still will use inches or millimeters, kind of use them interchangeably. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, but that's what it's like here. So yeah, the middle of the 12th fret is about 12 and 3/4 inches, which is what I would expect. In millimeters, that's, I'll say 324 millimeters. Again, I'll do the lookup again, 324 millimeters. Yep, 323.85 millimeters. Again, these are just on for if I need them for references, so they don't have to be bang on exact. That when I do actually put the frets in, I will measure those very accurately. The only other thing I need to know is how much to take off from that distance from the nut line to the end of the fingerboard, so that we don't count this overhang, so that my template, which obviously ends before that overhang for the fingerboard would be, is what I'll be measuring on. So I need to know that distance. I'm going to guess by looking at it, it's about 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, it's 0.26 inches. I'll do it as 1/4 inch. That's good enough. What's that, 6 millimeters? I will become a master at conversions. So 1/4 inch. Yeah, 6.35 millimeters. So we'll call it 6 millimeters. Again, these things don't have to be exact as long as my scale length is right for the frets, and then the distance from the 12th fret to the bridge is the same as the 12th fret to the nut line. So being close is accurate enough here. So that hangs over by 6 millimeters. Nut line on the blank, or sorry, on the acrylic, will be 470 millimeters. 470 millimeters from the end of the heel. So those are the only things I want to put on there right now. Before I put those marks on, I want to mark the center line on the neck from the heel all the way to the top, and again on both sides. So the other day I made this center finding gauge. There's a couple things about that. One is I figure I should probably demonstrate this before NSJ Guitars calls the authorities on me. So the other day when I built this, I didn't really even think I was going to actually release a making a centerline jig. I filmed it more to test my cameras and make sure everything was working out okay. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll continue on with that and I'll show how to build one. But of course, at the end, which was first thing in the morning, I really wanted to get to working on the templates, what I was doing in my last GGBO video. So I didn't even think to really demonstrate how to use this. So I will do that now, and hopefully NSJ Guitars will start talking to me again. One thing that I did on the video, I put the nail in so it sticks up about 1/4 of an inch. Now, if I were doing this with a pencil to mark on wood, that would probably be fine. But in playing around with this, I find that sticks out a little too far when I'm marking on things like acrylic. I tested it on some offcuts of acrylic, and the gauge can wobble one way or the other, so that sets the point this way or that way a little more, so it's not really centered. So what I'm going to do is set this nail so that the point is as close as I can get it to the actual wood of the gauge, so just protruding just a little bit. That should help me make sure I get the point right in the middle. So, and then I'll demonstrate how you use this. So the first thing I need to do is kind of figure out how to get that nail out of there. I don't want to tap it through on the pointy side and blunt the point. So I think what I'm going to have to do is cut off another nail and use it as a pin and push the nail out from the top through the bottom, and then I'll put it in and reset it at the height that I want. So I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll be right back ready to demonstrate how you use one of these. Okay, so I've got that point, so it's just protruding just a little bit out the end of this piece of wood. So how you use a center finding gauge is you have these two posts, and then at the exact middle between them is where your pencil or your scribing line goes. And you take the marking gauge and turn it so that both of the posts are fully touching each side of the board. You can see that right there. And then you just you keep the scribe as level as you can, and you pull it down your piece of wood. And that gives you a mark right in the center. On softwood, a pencil would work better. This scribe is tending to want to follow the grain of the wood, but that's the principle. So one thing that I also wanted to do to check that it was as accurate in the center as possible, I took the gauge and I just put it on a bare piece of the wood, got the post centered, and then push so that it makes a little hole that I can see. Then I took the gauge, turned it 180 degrees, and did the same thing and made a hole sort of next to the first hole that I made, and see if they line up straight. Then what I do is I also do the same thing but at the other diagonal, so that at all diagonals I know if this is accurate or not. So I'm pretty confident that this is a good marking gauge. If I line this ruler up so that it goes through the center of all of those holes, the ruler looks parallel to the edge. So I'm happy with that marking gauge. So one of the things about the marking gauge, and the astute among you will have thought about this, it works on a board or a piece of lumber, a stick that has parallel sides. And a guitar neck is not. It's got a taper. It's thinner up here than it is down here. So you can't really, and I knew this when I made the marking gauge, but I have a plan and a reason why I made this gauge. So you can't really put this on your neck and scribe a center line, because the post that's up here is going to be a little closer, a little farther in than the post that's down here. It will be a little bit out. So your line is going to be skewed off. Not only that, because there's a taper, the neck widens as it goes down, your line is going to go one way or the other off center. Like I say, I knew that was going to be the case when I did this, but my plan for this marking gauge is to put it at a specific spot on the neck, make just a little mark, and then take it to the other side, make just a little mark, and those marks may be exact if I'm lucky, or they may be a little bit off center to each other, but they'll be parallel, and I know that the center line goes right in the middle of those marks. So that's my thinking anyway. and I'm just going to try it. We'll see. I'm going to start by trying to do it the same way that I did to check how the alignment was on it, which is I'm going to just press and just make a little scratch mark right where the center should be, and we'll see if that works well. So yes, I can see my little mark, and okay, so I can see the mark, and yes, I can see where the line needs to go between them. So that will work. But to be honest, this was a bit of an experiment. I can still use this on my neck blanks before I taper the necks, and that was more why I wanted to have this. For marking this, I'm actually just going to use my center finding, either my protractor or my center finding ruler. I think at the end of the day, that's going to work better for this. So a little bit of an academic exercise here, but was still fun to do. I like doing little jigs and extra things. I don't really know if you can see on the camera, but the two holes are right here, very close to each other, and they are almost dead on top of each other. But I don't want to try and skate a scribe between those two. And that was the main reason that I made this scribe, because what I'm going to do is use my center finding ruler, make a mark in the center here, go down to the end of the neck at the heel end, make a mark there, and then I'll just use my ruler to connect those and draw the line across. I kind of like using my protractor a little bit better than my center finding ruler, just because the protractor's bigger and it's easier to hold in place while I make my mark. It can get a little bit more finicky. I find that I'll get things lined up, and then I move or look somewhere and the ruler shifts, and that doesn't seem to happen as much with this protractor. These protractors, I got this one from Crucible Guitars. These are a really fantastic tool for all kinds of things. So the neck is about 43 millimeters wide up at the top here. So that means I need 21.5 millimeters on either side of the center mark on this. So a flashlight, which I always carry a flashlight in my pocket, comes in handy for so many things. And it looks to me like I've got this pretty much lined up at 21.5. So I'm just going to make my little mark. I'll make the mark down at the end of the neck here, and then what I'll do is I'll put the scribe in there and use that as a pivot to line it up to the hole up at the other, or to the point at the other end. Once that's there, I can scribe the line. That's looking pretty good to me there. So again, my center mark should be right about there. Okay, so that's looking pretty good to me. So once I feel comfortable with how I have everything lined up, I'm just going to clamp the ruler down so it can't move as I scribe my line. And I should, if it all goes right, have a good center line. That's in there. Okay, so ready to scribe the line. Okay, so that's the center line marked and scribed. Just off camera just now, I put the two templates together and checked, and yes, they do run straight and true right from the end of the headstock to the end of the neck template. So my center line is good, and all I need to do now is mark my nut line, my 12th fret, and my 21st fret. I'm going to also put a mark where the body will join with it. On New Boy, the guitar my brother sent to me, the accessibility is so good up top, and it's just because the neck is just shifted back this way just a little bit. It's maybe a change of a quarter of an inch, but it makes a massive difference in the ability to play comfortably up at the top of the neck. So I will put some kind of mark on there to indicate where the body and neck are joining when I get to the point that I'm ready to do that. So right now, what I need to do, my nut line is 470 millimeters from the end of the heel. And I'm only going to mark these lines just on the top for now. I can carry them around later if I need to. Okay, so that's all of my lines marked. I'm really happy with how this looks. The lines for the 12th fret and 21st fret are not quite exactly on, but as I say, those lines are just there for a general reference. I have one of the StewMac fret slotting jigs. So the only other thing I have left to do is my repair of this little chip at the top of the headstock here. So I'm going to get set up for that, and then I'm done for the day. Okay, I've rigged up a little work holding jig using a couple of clamps here to hold this template at an angle that I can work to fill this little chip at the tip of the headstock. I've used some of my low friction tape to make a dam, and I'm going to use some medium super glue and do several layers to build it up, and then I'll just sand that to shape it down final when it's done. I've got a little bit of a slope here. Hopefully this super glue is not thin enough to run down the side of the neck. I'd just sand it off. Again, if that happened, I'm going to have to sand this whole section anyway. This is fairly thick, so I don't think we're going to have much issue with that. Okay, that's one layer. I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes, and then I'll come back and see where we're at with that glue, whether it's cured or not. And it looks like I might get away with only putting one more, building up one more layer on there. So that would be good. I gave that about 10 minutes to see how it would start to set or cure, and it was still pretty liquid when I got back, so I hit it with some accelerator. I only need to do one more layer to build this up enough. I'm also going to let this sit and cure overnight. I want to make sure that it's fully cured before I take this tape off. I'd hate to have a gooey mess because it wasn't cured underneath or something. When I did my test pieces, I did a very similar thing. I created a dam with that plastic tape and glued them up, and after about an hour of sitting, I could press on the side and still see that it was liquid. Once I let it sit overnight, it was solid. So I just want to make sure that this neck template comes out as good as possible. I probably won't hit it with the accelerator. The accelerator makes the surface look a little rough. It was looking nice and smooth before I hit it with the accelerator. And because I'm letting it go overnight, I don't need it to cure really fast. Once that's done, off camera, I will shape that end. I won't film that. I'll just show you that at the start of the next video. So this will be the end of the video. About a week ago, a little over a week ago, I was at 184 subscribers. As of today, I'm at 214. So I've gotten 30 new subscribers in about a week. That's just amazing for me. I know there's guys out there with thousands of subscribers, but to get 30 more of you in around a week. It's just awesome. The appreciation that I get from you people, not only taking the time to watch, but to like and to subscribe. It's just, it's really humbling. I really appreciate you guys. So, like always, thanks for watching. The links to my band One Soul Thrust are in the description below. If you have any questions or comments, things I could have done better, things that you think I can change, or even if you think I did it exactly right, please leave a comment. Let me know. I read and answer comments, and it's a learning experience for all of us. Until the next video, I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you.